Hello, anime fans. Another year has passed, bringing with it a wave of incredible new anime that you absolutely can't afford to miss. And no, we're not talking about sequels to already popular franchises. This list is all about fresh original hits, from thrilling action to sob-inducing stories and mind-blowing twists. There is something for every fan. A stunning, icy cold student council treasurer who seems untouchable, but suddenly starts whispering sweet things in Russian. Sounds adorable, right? Well, what if I told you that the guy she's teasing actually understands every single word, but she has no idea? That's the setup for Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian, an anime that blends high school romance with a playful cultural twist. The story follows Elisa Alya Kuju, a half-Russian, half-Japanese beauty with brains and a strict demeanor. Meanwhile, her lazy, unmotivated classmate Masachika Kuz couldn't care less about school, or so it seems. When Alya starts dropping flirty comments in Russian, thinking he won't understand, Masachika plays alone, but secretly, he knows exactly what she's saying. As their dynamic shifts from playful teasing to something much deeper, this anime delivers not just romantic tension, but a charming and unique love story. With smooth animation, heart-fluttering moments, and a fresh cultural angle, this anime stands out from the usual school romance shows. Once upon a time, Taro Sakamoto was an unstoppable legend in the world of assassins. Feared by criminals, respected by fellow hitmen, he was the ultimate killing machine. But then, he fell in love. Fast forward a few years, and now he's just your average slightly overweight convenience store owner with a wife and kid. Sounds like a peaceful retirement, right? Well, not exactly. Sakamoto's past refuses to stay buried. His former partner Shin shows up. A bounty is placed on his head, and suddenly every assassin in town wants a piece of him. But here's the catch. Sakamoto may have put on some weight, but he hasn't lost an ounce of his insane combat skills. With his lightning-fast reflexes and unpredictable fighting style, he turns grocery store items into deadly weapons, all while keeping his no-kill rule intact. It's like John Wick meets Spy X Family, but with way more comedy and over-the-top action, with its high-energy fights, hilarious moments, and a surprisingly wholesome family dynamic. Sakamoto Days is shaping up to be one of the most exciting anime adaptations. But what do you think? Could Sakamoto become your new favorite action hero? Let me know in the comments. What if you lived in a world ruled by magic, but had none yourself? Sounds like a death sentence, right? Well, not for Wilserfort. In a society where magical power determines your worth, Will dares to dream big. He wants to reach the top of the wizard's tower, a place reserved for the most powerful mages. The only problem, he has exactly zero magical ability. But what he lacks in spells, he makes up for with sheer determination, raw strength, and a sword that can cut through any obstacle, literally and figuratively. Wistoria, Wand and Sword brings a fresh twist to the fantasy genre, blending high-stakes action with an inspiring underdog story. Think Mushoku Tensei meets Demon Slayer, but instead of flashy spells, you get a protagonist who carves his own path with a blade. With breathtaking animation, intense battles, and a deep emotional core, this anime is said to be a must-watch for fantasy lovers. But what do you think? Ken will truly stand among the strongest without magic? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If Tokyo Revengers and Crow's Zero had a love child, Windbreaker would be it. This isn't your typical high school delinquent story. This is about brotherhood, honor, and fighting for something bigger than yourself. Haruka Sakura is a lone wolf, a guy who's used to being an outcast and only trusts his fists. So when he enters Furen High, a school infamous for its fighters, he's ready to climb to the top. But here's the twist. These delinquents aren't just thugs. They call themselves Boforen, and their mission, to protect their town from anyone who dares to mess with it. With jaw-dropping action sequences, a killer art style, and an emotional core that hits harder than a right hook, Windbreaker is shaping up to be a must. Watch. Animated by Cloverworks, the studio behind The Promised Neverland and Horimiya. This show delivers crisp animation and intense fights that'll leave you hyped. But the real question is, Can Sakura break free from his past and fight for something more than himself? Imagine being the deadliest hitman alive, someone who can take out a target in 6 seconds, only to be told you can't kill anyone for an entire year. Sounds easy, right? Not when the Yakuza, rival gangs, and your own instincts are all trying to break that promise. The Fable throws us into the absurd yet thrilling life of an assassin forced to live as an ordinary civilian in Osaka. But staying out of trouble is harder than it looks, especially when everyone around you is looking for a fight. What makes the Fable stand out? It's a perfect mix of brutal action, dark humor, and psychological tension. Animated by Tezuka Productions, the series delivers slick fight choreography with a cinematic touch. But it's not just about the action. This anime dives deep into the mind of a man who's only ever known violence. Can a killer truly live a normal life? And more importantly, will he even survive the year without breaking his promise? What if your greatest discovery could cost you your life? Orb on the movements of the earth isn't just another historical drama. It's a gripping, thought-provoking story about one boy's fight for truth in a world where questioning authority is a death sentence. Set in 15th century Poland, this anime follows Rafal, a child prodigy torn between societal expectations and his passion for astronomy. When he stumbles upon the revolutionary idea of heliocentrism, the belief that the Earth revolves around the sun, he's forced into a dangerous game of intellect and survival. What makes Orb truly stand out is its mature storytelling and hauntingly beautiful animation. Produced by Madhouse, the series blends stunning period, accurate visuals with an eerie sense of tension, making every moment feel both inspiring and terrifying. This is historical drama at its finest, rich, emotional, and deeply immersive. Will Rafal prove his theories before the church silences him forever? And more importantly, would you risk everything for the truth? What do you do when you're trapped in a deadly dungeon, low on supplies, and your sister has been eaten by a dragon? Well, if you're Leos and his party, the answer is simple. You start cooking the monsters. Delicious in Dungeon is a wild mix of high-stakes adventure, dark humor, and mouth-watering fantasy cuisine. It's a dungeon crawling RPG come to life, but with an unexpected twist. Survival depends not just on fighting skills, but on how well you can turn terrifying creatures into gourmet meals. Animated by Studio Trigger, this series oozes personality, vibrant action, expressive character designs, and of course, lovingly detailed food that will make you question your own appetite. It's an anime that blends tension and comedy seamlessly, offering heartwarming camaraderie alongside thrilling monster battles. If you've ever wondered what a roasted basilisk or slime soup might taste like, this show has got you covered. But here's the real question. Would you try Dungeon Cuisine? Let me know in the comments. Imagine spending your whole life dreaming of becoming a hero, only to end up cleaning up monster guts. That's Kafka Hibino's reality, until fate hits him with the craziest plot twist possible. One freak accident later, and he's no longer just a regular guy, he is the Kaiju No. 8 is an exhilarating mix of high-octane battles, emotional struggles, and that classic underdog determination. It's what happens when Attack on Titan meets One Punch Man, but with the protagonist who's 32, slightly washed up, and way too relatable. Brought to life by production, i.e.g., this anime boasts stunning action sequences, fluid animation, and an intensity that grabs you from the start. The contrast between Kafka's struggles as a soldier and his overwhelming power as a kaiju makes every fight feel personal. But here's the real question. If you suddenly gain kaiju powers, would you fight for humanity or embrace the monster within? What if one day you went from being the weakest nobody to the most overpowered hunter alive? Solo leveling takes that dream and cranks it up to 11. Meet Sung Jin Woo, a hunter so weak he's barely better than a regular guy. Until a deadly dungeon raid changes everything. Left for dead, he wakes up with a mysterious system that lets him level up like a video game character. Stronger, faster, deadlier, and soon, he's not just fighting to survive, he's rewriting the entire power hierarchy of the world. With jaw-dropping animation from A1 Pictures, and some of the slickest fight sequences we've seen in years. Solo leveling is a visual and adrenaline-fueled masterpiece. The hype around this anime is real. So the question is, are you ready to witness Jin Woo's insane rise to power? Drop a comment and tell me, what would you do if you could level up in real life? Ghosts or aliens who wins in a fight? Dandadan throws that question right at you, then drags you into a world where both exist, and they're absolutely insane. Ayase, a tough high schooler who believes in ghosts but not aliens, and Ken Takakura, an awkward nerd who's obsessed with UFOs but thinks ghosts are fake. After a bet gone wrong, they each encounter exactly what they don't believe in. Momo gets abducted by aliens, and Ken is cursed by a vengeful spirit. Now stuck together in a whirlwind of supernatural chaos, they unlock insane powers and take on bizarre, reality-warping enemies. With animation from Science Saru, known for their fluid and experimental style, Dandadan is shaping up to be one of the most visually electrifying anime of the year. It's got heart-stopping action, wild humor, and a story that never slows down. So tell me, do you believe in ghosts or aliens? And more importantly, are you ready for Dandadan? And that's a wrap. 10 incredible anime from the past year that you absolutely need to watch. What's your favorite? Did we miss any hidden gems? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss out on the newest anime recommendations. See you in the next one!